welcome to the Narrowing Path, walking the spiritual walk. My name is Steve Van Einstein. Thank you all for joining me for September 29th reading from James Allen's Daily Meditations. This will be fresh to you and fresh to me, meaning that you'll get my genuine response, reactions, observations, and what I relate to about the reading. And September has been a great month. Started out a little newer information for me, and you kind of heard me process some stuff, and we've gotten now into things that I wholeheartedly believe in. They've been part of my direct experience, and it's always such a cool journey to take reading these every single day. So I appreciate everyone that jumps on with me. So this will be fresh to me and fresh to you, which means this will be the first time that I hear it or read it right here on this podcast with y'all. So you'll get my genuine response, reactions, observations, and what I relate to about the reading. So I'm looking forward to it, and let's get started. So here is September 29th reading from James Allen's Daily Meditations. Justice reigns, and all that is called injustice is fleeting and illusionary. Illusory. The man who is continually getting enraged over the injustice of his fellow men, who talks about himself being badly treated, or mourns over the lack of justice in the world around him, shows by his conduct, his attitude of mind, that he believes in injustice. However, he may protest to the contrary. In his inmost heart, he believes that confusion and chaos are dominant in the universe. The result being that he dwells in misery and unrest, and his conduct is faulty. Again, he who believes in love, in its stability and power and practices, is under all circumstances, practices it under all circumstances, never deviates from it, and bestows it alike upon enemies and upon friends. The man who believes in justice remains calm through all trials and difficulties. Wow. I love this one. I love that part I kind of laughed at while I was reading there. The man who continues. Oh, just the beginning, that description of that man, because I relate to that man. That he who enraged over injustice of its fellow men, talks about being badly treated, victim of the world, mourns over the lack of justice in the world around him. I've got to be a cheat to get ahead, right? That he believes in injustice, shows by his conduct, his attitude of mind, that he believes in injustice. That what did I say? No good deed goes unpunished, or some people just can get away with anything. Those types of things. I was one of those that thought injustice was prevalent in this world. And it was because I liked being the victim of the world. At the end of the day, I really did. I liked being the victim because it removed the responsibility from myself to something else, which was convenient for me because I didn't want to do anything about it. So here we go. Let's do this again. Justice reigns, and all that is called injustice is fleeting and illusory. So it's illusory, meaning it's an illusion, and it's fleeting, meaning it doesn't stick around long. Injustice, right? There's always a price to be paid for injustice, and all that is called injustice is fleeting. So when someone triumphs for cheating, things like that, right? Illusory, it's an illusion. So I agree with that. It's been my experience that I didn't get away with anything in my previous type of life, and even the things that I cross paths within my sobriety. You can't get away without, you can't get away with lying because you know you did it. You know it's sitting there in the back of your head. The fear crops up that they'll find out the truth. The fear pops up that they talk to someone else about what you're talking to them about that you've lied about. Like, there's so many aspects to this that you don't even know are involved until you actually stop. But I always thought injustice was a real thing, and some people just got away with stuff. But here he says justice reigns, and I believe it. The man who is continually getting enraged over the injustice of his fellow men, the one that I can't believe, I'm so mad at them for doing what they did to me. How dare they do that to me? Don't they know who I am? I thought we were friends. The man who talks about himself being badly treated. That's so many people today. That was me for sure, but there's so many that just talk and talk and talk about how we're getting this. I'm getting the short end of the stick. I'm unlucky. God doesn't like me. Like, so many things that I used to personally say, right? That I really just thought I had bad luck, which is just laughable now when I look back at it. Nothing to do with luck. It had everything to do with me. That was what was needing of improvement, not my luck. Badly treated, or who mourns over the lack of justice in the world around him. It's just the way this world works. And if you got enough money, you can get away with anything. Ba ba ba. This, that, the other. Just a miserable existence. Playing the victim. A nihilistic view of the world. Hopeless place to be. Lack of justice in the world shows by his conduct, his attitude of mind, that he believes in injustice. So, all that to achieve this point right here. So, if you talk about these things and you perceive the reality this way, that means you believe that injustice is a ruling power in this world, and you can't have justice and injustice. We talked about that yesterday. So, which do you have? You believe one, though you might prefer the other, you believe the chaos. You believe the injustice. So if you believe in that, there is no justice in this world. There is no law, spiritual law that this world abides by. It just isn't true. However, he may protest to the contrary. So no matter how much you deny it, I deny it. In his inmost heart, he believes that confusion and chaos are dominant in the universe. So regardless of what I would tell people, regardless of what I wanted people to think, eventually my own personal beliefs won out. Which means that this is true from my experience. However, they may protest to the contrary, because I wanted people to think I was a positive, joyful person when I was really just a miserable man. But in most heart, he believes that confusion and chaos are dominant in the universe. We're just a victim of the world, trying to get by a day at a time, right? That's what we tell ourselves. The result, sorry, I lost my place. The result being that he dwells in misery and unrest, and his conduct is faulty. There you go. That's where this whole thing ends, right? If you believe in injustice and being the victim of the world and how everyone's out to get you, you're going to be miserable and restless, and then be a selfish, self-centered person in all your actions. It's actually kind of straightforward, as scary as that might sound, but that's what happens repeatedly, over and over again. I've seen it in people. That selfishness and self-centeredness just sets in. That self-serving motive. All right, now the last sentence of which is its own paragraph. Or excuse me, again, he who believes in love, so the opposite side of this, is in its stability and power, right? The practices of this spiritual walking, the practices of this path. He who believes in love in its stability and power practices it under all circumstance. Wow, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? When we're kind, we're not just kind because the people around that we like. We choose to be kind. It's not dependent on individual or circumstance. It's solely dependent upon how I want to live my life. Just think about that. We get to choose how to behave. Again, he who believes in love in its stability and power practices it under all circumstances, regardless of person, place, or thing. Doing the right thing for the right reasons at the right time because it's the right thing to do. Get the ego out of the way. Never deviates from it and bestows it upon enemies as upon friends. So, again, we're talking about here enemy or friend, home or away, good or self beneficial scenario or a self detrimental scenario, per person, place. We still look for the love. We still look and behave how we've chosen to look and behave. Right? It's just huge. We get to choose those things today. Never deviate from it. With practice, it's so possible. And bestows it alike upon enemies as upon friends. Doesn't matter if you're my friend or you're my enemy, I will treat you with love and kindness and compassion. And that's not always easy to do, guys. I know. Now the closing line here. The man who believes in justice remains calm through all trials and difficulties because we know it's not our responsibility to be punishing. It's not our responsibility to even argue and win the argument. It's the law of justice will address all of that in due time. Believe in that wall of justice and you can rest on the foundation of strength and peace and allow life to just be life, which is a glorious and beautiful blessing we get to have today. So, all right, well, that's where we're going to end it for tonight. Thank y'all for joining me again for September 29th reading. I'm excited to see what September ends on, so I'll be looking forward to tomorrow's as well. So until next time, thanks.